Welcome, wonderful people, to the Sunday rune and card reading. Wow, there's so much energy here, it's untrue. I will say a little bit about how these readings work. Some of you who are already following my readings will know. Guys, welcome back to anyone who is already connected to this incredible community that we're building here. Guys, you blow me away. You're just inspirational. The way you share your journeys, your support of me has been phenomenal. Thank you. But also your support of one another. You are absolutely amazing. And happy Christmas, guys. Real quick Christmas wishes to you all. I truly hope you have a wonderful break. Anyone new to this community, welcome. I'm Jenny Florence. I put up weekly readings for guidance and direction, as well as big monthlies. And also, if you haven't checked them out, there's a playlist on the homepage for the big 2020 readings to give a real flavour of the kind of energy for each of the signs as we travel through 2020. As a community, really, we are a community of spiritual warriors. Guys, in the information box below, anyone new, you'll find all sorts of information about the stuff that I do, the free resources that I put into the world. So do check that out. Guys, could you also please, if you know anyone who has lost someone they love, do please reach out to them. We are a community of people who care, and I've added a meditation to one of the playlists that I have. I don't have very many playlists, but there's one to help people through the emotional journey of loss. And I've added a meditation that is very specifically, first of all, I talk about kind of the emotional journey over the Christmas and New Year period, because if you have lost someone you love, it's a really tough time. You know, everyone around us is having a wonderful time, and it's such a reminder of our loss. So I've added this meditation. It tells people exactly what they might feel, also how to handle those emotions, and there's also a meditation attached to it for emotional release. So the link is below. Do please reach out to anyone you know that may find that extra little bit of support and information helpful to them. So wonderful people. A very big gifted reading today. I cannot tell you the energy here. It's phenomenal. I was walking through some woodland. I visit there sometimes. It's the place I grew up. And I was gifted with 3 very specific messages for these readings. It was a really wild and windy day, pouring with rain. I only met a couple of other people in wellies and umbrellas, you know, but really it was very wild. These pieces of, I think it's spruce or pine, were literally, they were falling around me because the wind was so strong. But they brought with them a message which is connected to reading number 1. The message I was given was of durability, of resilience, of the fact that if we remain centered, anchored, you know, if we are grounded, if we have a taproot going down into the soil, we are able to withstand the storms. And even if we lose pieces of ourselves, or we have to let go of pieces of ourselves, aspects of ourselves, as long as we remain centered and grounded, our resilience remains. So resilience, durability, that's the energy of reading number 1. The message of reading number 2, we have these beautiful leaves, pine cones that were on the floor around me as I walked. The message I was given was of, it's that aspect, I would say, of the spiritual warrior's journey, where as we travel through life, we recognize when we need to, I'm going to say retreat, but it's not retreat as in running away retreat. It's like that hibernation period, but we replenish, we feed ourselves. A forest feeds itself as leaves rot and, you know, they fall, they feed, they provide food for the next cycle to come. So this was a message of knowing when to relax, knowing when to retreat, knowing when to take time out, knowing when to replenish and to nourish. Very much not just ourselves, but our families, when to be still, when to rest. That's the energy that was granted for reading number 2. Reading number 3, very powerful. I need to say these lichens and mosses actually came from my own garden, and I will replace them from where they have come as soon as this reading is finished. But I was passing one of the people I met on my walk with a big umbrella and wellies, and their perception of the day was very negative. It was raining, yes, it was very blustery. I have to say I was invigorated, alive, I felt amazing. But the few people I met were pretty down about the weather, and they just said, you know, what a dark day it is. Somebody announced that, and we passed, and I spoke actually about my enjoyment of all the weather, but nevertheless, we are also, I guess, to be reminded that we are gifted if we are out in that kind of weather, that we, of course, or I can, that's not everyone, I can come back into the warm. You know, actually there are, of course, people in the world who can't. But anyway, these people said, what a dark day it is. And as we parted company, I glanced down and saw some mosses and lichens, and they were really in the shadows. But they were so vibrant and so alive. It was almost like nature's Christmas lights. The energy of them and the light that came from them was electric. And the message I was given was that even if we do find ourselves in a dark place, in dark times, when we venture into the shadows, it's through the understanding of that aspect of our journey that we often discover the light. Very powerful message, and that was the third message that was granted and gifted for these readings. So, wonderful people, with the knowing that these will be returned to their dwelling places in my garden shortly, I will leave you guys to see which reading you are drawn to. On the screen you'll see the timings, so you can fast forward to whichever one is calling or speaking to you. As I always say on Sunday, the Sunday readings, sometimes more than one reading will speak to you, in which case that's fine. You may return to them at a different time. If something just comes to you and you think, gosh, I could really do with some guidance, and something has resonated, return to them. I'm now putting these Sunday readings into a playlist, so you should be able to find them really, really easily if you go to the AZ Emotional Health channel. So, wonderful people, namaste. Big respect to you guys for the path you are walking, and so much love to you. Welcome to reading number 1. Just going to move our wonderful gift up here. So let's look at our runes first. We have the rune of signals, the rune of breakthrough, and the blank rune. The infinite source of possibilities, new opportunities, new beginnings. The rune of signals asks us to pay attention to the synchronicities that are going on around us. Pay attention to chance happenings, chance conversations, signals, signs. I want to say be alert to and be aware of things that we might not necessarily normally in our everyday lives listen to. So really be very present. The rune of breakthrough, I feel as though something is being offered to you. That's actually the message I'm hearing. Now, I don't know what that is going to be for each of you in your own lives, and here we are at Christmas, but nevertheless, something is being offered to you, and I think it's going to be offered to you in an unexpected way. So, but it creates a window of opportunity. It creates, there's new possibility being offered to you, and it's coming in a particular way, but I don't know quite what the particular way is, but let's look at the cards, see what else we have. So, I'm going to leave these here and connect in with them in a moment. I'd like to just connect to all of the cards, okay. Wow. We'll lay them out as we go. Now, the first card I'm going to put out is Brown Bear Spirit. Take time out. You are being asked to slow down and be present. You know, sometimes we can be so busy, so active, that we don't notice the signs, the signals that are being offered to us. It's as though we're so goal orientated. I mean, to be fair, Western culture is, I think, and becoming increasingly so. There's a lot of pressure on us to achieve, to fit certain criteria. But actually, if we're very goal orientated and we know we want to go from A to B, we can miss something really important on the journey, and it could have been a miraculous turning point for us. So slow down, take time out. Cancer, I feel. We have the Ten of Cups, the Ace of Swords, and the Knight of Wands. Okay. So this is a relationship-orientated reading. Now, the Ten of Cups is very much about contentment, happiness, stability in relationship. It's a relationship that's come a certain distance. I would say and by a certain distance, that's not necessarily time, although it could be for some people. It's a certain distance in terms of your awareness of one another, your knowledge of one another, of who you really are. For me, this is a card of honesty. Now, Ace of Swords, I don't know whether this is indicating, I want to say an area of, it could be an area of conflict, but it seems to me something is needing to be said, or you're needing to hold firm, to be clear. It's like crystal clear intentions. It's like you're being asked to notice. In fact, not even just notice. I want you to trust your feelings. There's something around a relationship. I think there's quite a breakthrough point here. It's like there are signs, signals that allow you to shift something within a relationship. It could be an area that has been causing you grief or conflict, but it's like new vitality comes in, and that creates new possibility. But you are being asked to connect with how you feel. Yeah? Listen to your emotions, listen to your feelings. Now we have here the card of Journey, and we have the Queen of Fire. The card of Journey, it speaks of the fact that we are created by our journey. It's like our life experiences make us who we are. If we slow down enough to listen to our life experiences, we can review, we can learn from we learn our lessons. I mean, this is the pathway of the spiritual warrior. The Queen of Fire, optimism, determination. Again, she asks that you immerse yourself in the presence of what it means to be an independent, autonomous person. A soul on our human journey of evolution, but immerse yourself in, I almost want to say, the sensuality of life. It may be that some of you have, if there is a conflict in relationship, it may be that some of you, that's come from what I would say an imbalance somewhere, like life-work balance has not been okay. It says here your hard work is paying off and conclusions are within reach. Whatever this conflict, difficulty has been about, for some of you, I don't get the impression that it's major, but it feels as though it's something that's been simmering under the surface. And sometimes we don't listen to the signs. Sometimes we don't heed them, or we see them but we let it go. And this reading is asking you to slow down, to notice, to invest with awareness of where you've come from, awareness of the journey. Invest in yourselves, invest in relationship. Now, if any of you guys are looking for a new relationship, I feel like there's an opportunity to begin that journey with your eyes wide open. It's almost as though you've learned enough from previous experiences. Your hard work is paying off. It's like you've consolidated something within yourselves that allows you to enter the space of looking for a new partner or entering a new relationship from a position of kind of integrity, self-awareness. Now, this is really interesting. We have problems. The card of problems, we have the card of mistakes, and we have the card of synchronicity. So this is really interesting, given that we have the rune of signals. Now, sitting here with the journey, we learn from our experiences, we learn from our mistakes. Problems. This card asks you to view any problems as an opportunity rather than a crisis. Whenever we identify a problem, our very recognition and acknowledgement of this difficulty creates an opportunity to seek a potential solution. As long as the problem remains unseen or indeed denied, the doorway to a potential solution remains closed. Excuse me. It's really interesting, isn't it? I think our outlook, our perspective shifts us from a position of experiencing a massive downward spiral or being able to lean into something as part of the journey and know that we can grow from it and we can therefore find a resolution. It's really interesting. Our perspectives are often the very thing that either ground us, anchor us, bring us resilience and durability, or our perceptions can also assist in knocking us off balance. And then we lose our durability, we lose our resilience. We feel as though we can't navigate the reality of a relationship, which is two separate, independent, autonomous people who need to work out how to support one another on their own unique individual pathways, rather than do battle. Mistakes. If you feel you have made a mistake, or indeed someone else has done so with impact on you, please do not feel bad about this. Treasure and value your mistakes and those of others around you. They are the cutting edge of our personal growth and evolution. Lean into the learning and celebrate your openness to grow. Synchronicity are seemingly random coincidences showing up in your life. This card asks you to listen to the signs and take them seriously. You are tuning into the universal energy of a greater collective consciousness, and these synchronicities are arriving in your world to guide you. Listen. Take time out. Slow yourself down enough. Get still. But it's not even just about being still. It's more than that. Obviously, it's great to get still. It's great to meditate. This is more than getting still. It's different. This is about slowing down enough to notice, listening to the way things feel so that you navigate from a position of awareness. Your hard work is paying off. Conclusions are within reach. A problem is actually an opportunity. We learn from our mistakes, we learn from our problems, we become stronger, we become more resilient. The Queen of Fire, new optimism, determination, take pleasure in life, including things that feel like they're a challenge. Immerse yourself in the experience of being and really feel your way through this time. Because I think conclusions are within reach. If things have been stressed, difficult, stretched, it's time to slow down, get present and immerse yourself in the experience of being not only with yourself but with others too. I feel as though for some of you guys, a phase of relationship where somehow there just hasn't been time for one another is really being highlighted, and you are asked to kind of lean into that presence of one another. And as I said, if you are looking for a relationship or beginning a relationship, it's really requesting an investment in taking that time to prioritize that relationship. So guys, so much love to you. Namaste. Welcome to reading number 2. Our first rune is the rune of the self. Our second rune is the rune of separation. And our third rune is the rune of flow. Now, the rune of the self, everything begins in a way with the self, because our soul's journey of evolution within the human experience is all about growth. It's all about recognizing that, whilst we are, we're not in charge of everything, we can't be all powerful. At the same time, we are not entirely powerless. We have the capacity for free will and conscious choice. And we're actually far more active in co-creating the world that we live in than I think we often realise, or certainly so the law of attraction would tell us. Now, we have the rune of separation, Othilla. The rune of separation suggests that you have outgrown something within yourself. It's like you are, like a snake sheds its skin. You've outgrown something to which you have an emotional attachment. It could be a way of being, an attitude, a perspective. It could be a somebody. Sometimes this even speaks of moving house, of real estate. But you've outgrown something. You're needing to move on. And this is kind of integral. It's really important, and it's connected to your own personal growth and evolution. We then have the rune of flow. So things are gathering momentum. The ebb and flow of emotions, the ebb and flow of careers, the ebb and flow of relationships. The energy around you is gathering momentum, which is interesting because actually there's quite a paradoxical position here with this the nurturing energy of the autumn leaves, the need to slow down, to make sure you nourish, you feed, you look after, you attend to, you replenish. I'm going to move all our cards over here, and I'm going to move our runes down so that we have a little bit more space. I think those are still in camera. Yes, they are. Good. So the first card I'm going to place, Dear Spirit, bring a gentle touch. Lovely energy surrounding you guys. Black Moon Lilith, mystery. Okay, so we have the Five of Wands. We have the Ace of Wands. Wow, guys. There's a lot happening in your world, I need to say, the energy around you. I can see why things are gathering momentum, why you are shedding a skin and moving into a new space. But it brings with it an aspect of what I would call uncertainty. I think when we are transitioning from one aspect of ourselves or one phase of life or one situation to another, I mean, the reality is we can never know how something will be until we get there, however much we imagine about it. But this is lovely. You're facing something. I suspect for some of you it is some aspect of yourself, but whether it is an emotional connection to a way of living, a way of being, or even a circumstance or a somebody, you're facing it, and you have been facing it. It's actually creating a new beginning, and you know it's creating a new beginning. Everything is gathering momentum. There is a flow. What I am loving in this reading is it's very reassuring. It's asking you to not be stressed about this transition. Okay, Ace of Wands, new energy, new vitality, and Six of Wands, a card of victory. And it's acknowledged, it's recognised. It's not just that personal victory, it's recognised by others, whether that's your social groups, your family, or even in a more public way or at work. Something of the transition that you've been going through is acknowledged, and it's recognised, it's validated. There is new energy around you. Now, interesting, we have the card of emotions, and then we have the Queen of Earth. The card of emotions is a real reminder that every emotion we have is important. So, for example, if we are feeling anxiety around what might happen, then that's actually a very natural emotion to have. Sometimes it's like we sort of assume that if we feel something that's perhaps a little more challenging, that we assume it's bad and that we shouldn't be feeling it. This card asks you to understand your emotions and to listen to them as allies on your journey. And bring a gentle touch. Please be gentle with yourselves. I have this feeling here, and it's a message coming through, that some of you have been putting yourselves under pressure. It's like, yes, a transition is happening. Now, for me, increasingly, the more I work with the runes, Othilla, the rune of separation, I increasingly tune into it as an energy of needing to learn to allow. You know, there are times when we need to forge ahead, we need to push something through. There are other times when we need to, it's not that we don't do anything, but we also need to be actively involved in allowing something to emerge and kind of going with it, going with the flow. I feel as though you guys have been putting yourselves under pressure to achieve or to complete something, and you are being asked to just to kind of go with it a little bit, allow it to happen. The Queen of Earth, wonderful, kind, nurturing. Be kind to yourselves. There's a wisdom here that knows, Mother Earth, she knows that, there are cycles, things find their way. There's something quite pragmatic about this card as well. It's like all aspects of what I would call really grounded, centred mothering. We know that there are times we need to replenish. We know that there are times we need to push forwards. We know that there are times when we replenish that the universe will actually work with us, and that if we try to speed it up, it doesn't work. It's got that kind of flavour in the message here. Your commitment is being tested, and a win-win outcome is forecast. These are lovely cards. There's a lot of reassurance being given in this reading. For those of you that are transitioning, and that's the overall theme here. There's a transition, and actually I appreciate that for some of you, I think it's feeling quite challenging. They say that, house moving is one of the top 3 stresses in life. And the reality is transitions are difficult for us. It's a human thing. It's how we are. We worry about that. But, don't be too concerned. I think everything is evolving as it needs to be. Now, we have 3 cards here from the Art of Manifestation cards. Let's just place our runes, I think, again. Are we still in camera? Just. There we go. First of all, which direction? You have reached a turning point in your life. Do not be afraid of taking the wrong path. When you recognise the learning to be found at every step and in every moment of your journey, you will realise that there is no wrong way, only the infinite gain of your personal growth and evolution. Allow yourself to receive. This is lovely. And walk your talk. One of the greatest blocks in our ability to manifest our greatest desires is an inability to allow ourselves to receive. This card asks that you take some time to identify any inner beliefs, perceptions, and attitudes that stop you from receiving, and one by one, remove these resistances. That's the work in hand. This is the replenishing. You're being requested to be gentle, to allow yourself to allow, and that includes to receive guidance, to receive information. There's something within some of you that I'm seeing like a road travelling backwards. So it's like there's something historic that's blocked you or led you to believe that you have to do everything, or that if something doesn't happen, it's your fault. And that's really not the case. Actually, I'm really hearing that. Become what you believe. Walk your talk. Are your thoughts, words, and actions in alignment with your core inner values? This card asks you to walk your talk. Become your own personal hero or heroine and step into the very best version of yourself, radiating authenticity into the world. I know exactly where this is fitting with the message we're being given. The walking your talk in this instance is, I'm going to say, you would probably sit back and support anybody else through a transition and be really forgiving and allowing of them, and offer them the opportunity to take time out, to be supportive, of their emotions during that time. But I'm not sure you offer the same to yourselves. That's actually what I'm hearing. And that needs to change. That's this 5 of Wands. You're facing some kind of something within yourself, but you're kind of doing it fearlessly. And there's a victory. There's a shift in the energy because you do that. And people see it in you. People actually see and notice that difference within us when we actually begin again to allow ourselves to receive. It's like having an ownership of something. It's almost as though some of you guys can't quite believe that you can have this next phase in life, but you are being offered it. The transition is happening. So yeah, be non-resistant, and including in your inner thinking patterns, because your thinking patterns may actually not be in alignment with your fundamental beliefs. It's those beliefs we often offer others but don't offer to ourselves. Guys, namaste. Have a wonderful Christmas. So much love to you. Welcome to reading number 3. Let's look at our runes first. We have the rune of movement, the rune of defense, and the rune of strength. Wow. Okay, guys, let's place this wonderful gifts up here. The rune of movement, the bettering of any situation. Steady progress, steady movement forwards. It's not a fast kind of movement, but it does mean something is evolving, emerging, and it's building. That's what it feels like. It's like building blocks. The rune of defense is interesting because the rune of defense suggests that you are developing an aversion to things that don't resonate with you. I love this rune. It's kind of... It's such an integral part of the pathway of the spiritual warrior, where we begin to recognise that if something isn't okay, we can't really turn a blind eye to it anymore. Whether that is some aspect of ourselves, some thinking pattern within ourselves, or it's stuff going on around us, we kind of can't do it anymore. We can't sweep it under the carpet. We can't pretend there isn't an elephant in the living room. It's that kind of flavour. The rune of strength, terminations, new beginnings. Very profound energy in this rune. Terminations, new beginnings, symbolised by the ox. It's about, connecting into the message that we had from the lichens and the moss that was given when I walked in that forest. Sometimes when we pass through a dark phase or a shadow phase, it's almost as though we have to delve into the unconscious in order to notice something and come out the other side. So this almost feels like a rite of passage, this sort of reading. Let's look at the cards and see what comes through from them as well. Okay, this is interesting. I'm going to move these down. I think they should still be in camera. We're going to need space. First of all, the spirit animal guide. Learn from the past. Elephant spirit. You're being called to acknowledge something, to recognise something. Jupiter return, benefits, absolutely. The gain in noticing is that we then navigate from a position of conscious awareness. Okay, we have the Empress. We have the Four of Swords. Let me move these over, make some space. And we have the Knight of Cups. Okay, this is lovely. I feel that you guys are letting something go. The Empress is a card of harvest, but if we think of her as the abundant mother, she also highlights the need not to hold on to things, to be able to move naturally through cycles. It's like the difference, the more challenging side of the card, the message, is the difference between mothering and smothering. So it's a card of harvest, it's a card of fruition, it's a card of benefit. But the learning is knowing... It's like if we lean into the learning from our past experiences, it means that we can put the past behind us. We don't forget it, yeah? We still remember. Elephants never forget, or so I'm told. We still remember the past, but it doesn't govern us, it doesn't rule us, because we've learned from the experience. We become more whole, more centred. You guys you've come to a space of awareness in something. That's what I'm hearing. And you know that you can't live in a particular way or tolerate something anymore or accept something as it is anymore. For some of you, that's something within you. For some of you, it's a circumstance around you. A situation or even a person. But one way or the other, the energy is with you to move beyond this. The Knight of Cups is lovely. It's a new energy coming in, a more grounded, healthy phase of life. Now we also have the King of Water and the Ace of Earth. The King of Water, calm energy, insightful. It's like a safe harbour in the storm. However, really interesting, again, connecting to this energy of the Empress, it can also feel like it's it's like if we stay in our safe zone and we never take a risk, we can't find any kind of way forward to have a new beginning. That's the shadow aspect of this. It's like the light in terms of the light within the darkness, the learning. What I'm hearing is, it's a very clear message actually. So for some of you, I think at some point in your lives you've had a really, really difficult experience. And indeed something that was really significantly abusive or toxic in some way. And when that happens, we naturally retreat. Because we move, the way that I've likened this on occasions is, it's kind of like if something happened that was bad, we go into a place of hiding. And the place of hiding can feel pretty dark and not okay. That can be a space within ourselves, literally. And sometimes it's not just within ourselves, it can literally then be in our external world. We retreat. And we need to do that because we need to feel safe. The challenge is that there comes a point when the safe place actually kind of becomes a bit of a prison. It's like we can't move forwards. Yes, we feel safe, but we're stifling our own growth. I have a very clear message that some of you have experienced at some point in your life a genuinely challenging and abusive situation. And you've needed to look after yourselves and keep yourselves safe. But it is time to begin to emerge afresh, to know that you learned from the experience. It's made you who you are. There are benefits. It's literally, often, every person I know, all of my personal heroes, they've all had really, really, really hard times in their lives, but it's made them such extraordinary people. Their integrity, that pathway of the spiritual warrior, it's so in them because of the challenges that they had to face. They're the people I admire. They are the people I respect. They are the people I can trust. And it's really tough if we've had bad experiences, but the key is to shift to that space where we recognise that we are an amazing person because of and in spite of. It doesn't mean what happened was right, but it does mean we have become an amazing person with true values because of it. And that ownership allows us to then kind of come through this, to be centred, to create new beginnings, new possibilities. We have 2 cards here. A new start is coming. And don't let pride get in your way. Okay, so a new start is coming. Ace of Earth as well. New beginnings, desire, preparation, goals, motivation. So very, very interesting energy of new beginnings. Sometimes it connects into career moves and opportunities, but there's something within you that maybe has held you back, or, like I said, there's some kind of safety that needs to be let go of. It's also really okay if you experience something that isn't really acceptable going on around you. It's really, really okay to make that choice and not to have to feel that you have to put up with it. This is the rune of defense of aversion. A new start is coming. Don't let pride get in your way. Now, the message that's coming through with this card is interesting, and I really get it. Sometimes it's kind of like if we've experienced some major challenge, it's kind of quite hard to let it go. I know that sounds daft because in a way we really, really want to let it go. But in another way, it means stepping into the unknown. And so there's some aspect of needing to just, I'm not going to say forgive, that's not quite the right word, but yeah, some aspect of allowing something to leave you, not holding on to something. And we have the card of let go gracefully. Something in your life is calling for you to let it go. Let go gracefully. Whatever has taken place in the past, it is time to move forwards, and letting go will make way for the new. Whether this is a person, a situation, an outdated thought or behaviour pattern, this card comes to assure you that new horizons are waiting for you. We have a card of unhappiness. Unhappiness is frequently the result of an inability to live in alignment with the calling of our soul. When this happens, our uneasy and challenging emotions are an indication that we need to listen to ourselves. This card asks you to have faith and to trust. Get still, meditate, listen to the voice of your heart and open yourself to receive guidance. Stay on course. You are facing some big stuff in your life right now. This card is a request that you keep going and stay on course, however challenging this may feel. Please be reassured that right now this is the appropriate way forwards. The universe supports your direction, and slow and steady progress is assured. Again, movement, the bettering of any situation, but it's steady moves forwards. It's very interesting. I feel that for some of you, either something's going on around you right now that has pressed your buttons and connected you to a past experience. That's a possibility. But for others, there has been something in your relatively recent history. I'm seeing like a timeline. And for some of you, this goes way back to something that was abusive in the past, a long time ago. For some of you, it's something more recent. Somebody's pressed your buttons and it's connected you to something from the past. For others, there has been something relatively recent that's been genuinely toxic or abusive, and you're having to tackle the process of moving through that and beyond it. But you are being asked to let go of something, some aspect of something, even if it's an attitude or belief within you, like one of those I don't deserve, nothing ever happens right for me attitudes that come from previous challenges. It's as if you're in that shadow space and you are being offered light. You are being offered light, you're being offered an opportunity to know that a new start will come. It is on its way. Please keep going. There is always light to be found within the shadows. Sometimes we have to delve into our own unconscious processes in order to let go of something that's still lingering. So I said, I do feel for some of you buttons have been pressed. But guys, stay on course. Your pathway is a good one. You wouldn't be listening into this kind of reading if you were not on the pathway of the spiritual warrior. Guys, so much respect. Love to you. Namaste.